Welcome to another of Devitt Machinery video applications. This time it'll be an in-place machining job done at Rock of Ages Corporation in Barre, Vermont. In this case it was a large Thompson grinder with a horizontal spindle. The back way surface had been damaged, likely from contamination. That surface was a flat. Devitt Machinery was called in to remachine the scores out of this back way. Here you can see the temporary carriage carrying a milling head. But first we needed to qualify the reference surfaces and create a temporary carriage. So because the V-way had been undamaged, we were able to use a piece of angle iron on the bottom of this plate and mo-grease that to the undamaged V-way in order to control straightness of the temporary carriage. You can see running up the center of this picture a mo-greased surface on the bottom of the plate that referenced the clearance surface right next to the flat way. This clearance surface had been leveled, stoned, and scraped to provide a very accurate flat reference surface for the milling cutter. So the temporary carriage after the mo-greasing operation has its sharp edges scraped off and the high spots on it are stoned as you would normally do in a mo-grease application. Then it gets installed on the bed where that chain runs under some idler gears and then up over a reducer connected to a variable speed drive. The plate itself is weighted with a convenient stone to help keep the cutter in the cut, not ride up onto the cut. The surfaces are milled in 4 or 5 passes, so maybe 3 roughing cuts and then a nice finish cut. Here you can see some of the stones that will go on the grinder when the grinder's been repaired in the background. Then the work starts on the bottom of the table. So the sheet type material that was on there was removed. The surfaces were ground with a hand grinder, including using a cutoff wheel to make some notches in the surface. You can see a mo-grease alignment shim that's in line with the rib in the table. It will also be lined up with ribs in the bed to support the table while it's being mo-greased. Of course, the surfaces have to be cleaned. The bedways are masked off so that only the molding surfaces that want to be molded are prominent. Then it is dammed off so that we can contain the mo-grease. Release agent is sprayed onto the surfaces. The mo-grease material is mixed up in bulk containers using a drill motor and impeller. The material is then poured into the V-way and poured onto the flat way and troweled around with a strategy to get the material evenly distributed. Once the material has settled out on the bedway, the whole table is set in place into the mo-grease on its alignment shims that keep the original table elevation and allowed to cure. The next day the table is popped free with hydraulic jacks, the excess mo-grease is trimmed off, the oil grooves are cut into the mo-grease material, and it is stoned and ready for reinstallation.